Some countries believe they can solve the crisis in Ukraine. They believe they can broker peace and put an end to this conflict. These are countries that enjoy close ties with both Ukraine and Russia, the likes of Israel, Turkey, and South Africa. They are all trying to mediate between Putin and Zelensky. But are their efforts working? Our next report tells you more.
The war in Ukraine has entered its fourth week. Ceasefire talks haven't delivered. There are no signs of truce and no dearth of mediators. More and more countries are offering to broker peace. Leading the effort are three unlikely players: Israel, South Africa, and Turkey. South Africa says it has been approached to play a mediation role, but it did not clarify who approached it, Russia or Ukraine. Some reports say South Africa has pitched itself for the role, but there are questions about its neutrality. Its official position has changed several times. Last month, South Africa's International Relations Department called on Russia to withdraw its forces from Ukraine. Since then, the call has been removed from official statements. President Cyril Ramaphosa has taken a softer stance. He has gone to the extent of blaming this crisis on NATO, a statement that could hurt his country's role as mediator.
The war could have been avoided if NATO had heeded the warnings from amongst its own leaders and officials over the years that its eastward expansion would lead to greater, not less, instability in the region.
Mediator number 2 is Turkey, a strong ally of Russia, also a member of NATO. It buys both US and Russian weaponry and enjoys close ties with Kiev and Moscow. Turkey is playing both sides. Last week, Turkey hosted the foreign ministers of Russia and Ukraine. The talks achieved very little. Now, Turkey has offered to host the presidents of both countries. The offer is yet to be acknowledged, forget being accepted. And the fact that Ukraine is still using Turkish drones in this war doesn't help Erdogan's case.
We have to maintain our friendship with Mr. Zelensky and Mr. Putin. But let me say that when it comes to sanctions, we did whatever was necessary within the framework of United Nations. We have given support to Ukraine despite Russia, something NATO member countries did not do.
Mediator number 3 is Israel. Last week, the Israeli Prime Minister secretly traveled to Moscow. He is said to have attended a 3-hour meeting at the Kremlin. The aim, he said, was to find a middle ground. Only that none was found. But Israel's efforts continue. The Israeli media says these efforts could backfire. Senior members of Israel's ruling coalition are upset. They feel such efforts could have negative repercussions, especially if Israel manages to broker a deal where Putin achieves more than the West. This is a legitimate risk for all mediators as they wade into the troubled waters of Ukraine.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.